So we're going to be looking at the clean here. We're going to look at this clip and we're going to analyze it a little bit, see what went well. So the clean is separated into four main bits. You've got your start position here. You've got your first pull, which is from your start position to just above your knees. Then you've got your second pull, which is from just above your knees to the point of triple extension, just about here. And then we have the third pull, which is pulling yourself under the bar, catching it in a nice deep squat. So before we begin looking at the start position, we're going to want to look at hook grip. What is hook grip? It's used in Olympic lifting for the clean and jerk and the snatch. You can also translate it into deadlift and other lifts. It's different in the sense that instead of just grabbing the bar like so, we're going to be grabbing the bar with our thumb tucked under. This is going to stabilize. When we're pulling the bar, it's not going to want to fly out of our hands. Because if we have a natural grip, a standard one, thumb out, when we get to heavier weights, it's going to want to break. So we're going to do a hook grip to maintain that. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but I can assure you no one cares. You just got to get rid of the nerve endings and it will get easier. So for the start position, we're going to be looking at a few different things. We want our shoulders to be beyond our knees, and we want both of which to be beyond the bar. For our foot position, we're going to be looking at about shoulder width apart, ever so slightly flared out, and for where you rest it underneath the bar, you want about the end of your shoelaces, this last little line here. It might differ very slightly depending on the pair of shoes. Try it out, see what feels good, but you want a slight deviation of your knees over the bar. You want your shoulders to be beyond your knees. Here, we want a nice stable back. Muscles are nice and tense. We want to have our hamstrings ready and engaged, all good to go. And for the first pull here, we're going to be driving through the quads. So it's going to be through the legs, getting them out the way. We're going to draw a little imaginary line just down our back. And then we're going to do the same at the end of the pull here, like so. We want these angles to be as close to each other as possible. When you're raising the bar up through this first pull, you don't want to have any change in your back. You don't want to lead with your glutes. You don't want to lead with your shoulders. You want this to be entirely through the legs at this point. At this point in the lift, you still want your shoulders on this side of the bar. You want nice straight arms still to keep that force. Any kind of bend is going to make the triple extension a whole lot harder. For the second pull, we're going to work on explosively extending through the entire body, a triple extension which is through the heels, the knee and the hip all at the same time. While you're doing this, you're shrugging in a backwards diagonal path like so, not directly up because that can allow the bar to deviate slightly further away. In this position, we're aiming for the bar to go upwards as close to us as possible. If we bump too much with the hips, the bar might deviate out this way. We don't want that, because if the bar's out here, we have all this distance to cover. It's going to be so much harder to get under the bar and make us a whole lot more unstable. So in this position, we're driving up and back. So we're reaching about maximal velocity at this point. We want to make sure our chest is now on the other side of the bar. Previously, our shoulders and chest were always on this side. We're moving back and out the way, just as we did with our knees in the first pull. The second pull is getting the rest of us out the way. From this triple extension, we want to pull ourselves under the bar, trying to keep it as close as possible. You want to think of trying to put it up your shirt almost. From here, pulling yourself down, shooting the elbows through as fast as possible. You want to make sure you're shooting the elbows nice and high. If you don't shoot them high enough, and they're at an angle like this, it's going to be so much harder for the bar to remain stable. The bar's going to want to naturally fall out in front. So keeping the elbows pointed straight forward and allowing the bar to take you down, falling with the bar almost into a nice deep squat, and using that momentum to drive out of the pit into a nice strong standing position. So looking at the bar's path, we want it to follow a path somewhat like this. So it's going to look a bit like a lazy S, almost really poorly drawn. But we're looking at the bar remaining nice and straight throughout this first pull. It's going to move ever so slightly back as we ready it into the triple extension. Deviate just slightly forward, but keeping it as close as possible. And letting it drop down into the catch. So So that just about sums up everything. Looking at the hook grip, nice stable position, straight arm, strong back, into our first pull, getting knees out of the way, keeping the back angle the same, arms still straight, shoulders still this side of the bar. Then going into the second pull, getting shoulders and chest out of the way of the bar, nice forceful extension through the heels, knees and hip. Pulling yourself down, keeping the bar nice and close to catch and break the bar's fall into a nice deep squat, rising out of the pit with elbows shot forward and in a nice forward position. So yeah, that's just about it. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I will see you next time.